Heroes of Might and Magic is a game with immense lore and home of some great tales and interesting characters. One of the most iconic and influential characters in the series has to be Sandro the Necromancer. A master of lies and deceit and a power-driven strategist, Sandro is often regarded as one of the game's greatest villains. Born in Enroth, in the early days of his youth, Sandro moved to Antagaric and served as a warlock under the command of Ethric of Brakada. Ethric saw the impending darkness inside Sandro, but nevertheless tried to teach him how to use the forces of magic honorably. Sandro soon betrayed Ethric's teachings and pursued the mystic path of the necromancy, a practice forbidden in Brakada. Sandro turned into a lich and returned to Enroth to fight in the Second War of the Enrothian Succession on the side of Archibald Ironfist. However, when Archibald was defeated, Sandro returned once more to Antagaric. Taking the guise of a human wizard, he wandered here and there for a while, until his path led him to the elven kingdom of Auli, where he met an Enrothian sorceress named Gem. Sandro persuaded her to gather the components of a dark relic, the Cloak of the Undead King, under the promise that he seeks to destroy it. However, when Gem handed over the components to Sandro, he vanished and kept the powerful artifact for himself. In the meantime, Sandro also recruited a seemingly dim-witted barbarian named Craghag to gather the components of another powerful artifact, the Armor of the Damned. Once again, when Craghag fulfilled his mission, Sandro took the artifact and disappeared, without giving the maddened warrior his promised reward. With the cloak and armor in his possession, Sandro became unstoppable. He began his journey to Deja, the land of the undead, unaware that Gem had already sent word to Ethric in Brakada about Sandro's betrayal. Ethric mastered his allies and attempted to stop Sandro, who nonetheless easily overcame all of his opponents. In the meantime, he encountered Vitomina, a Brakadian alchemist aspiring to become a necromancer herself. Sandro took her on as an apprentice, even betraying some form of affection towards her, during their joint battle against Ethric. Together they defeated the old warlock, and so Sandro raised his former master as a lich. In Deja, Sandro met Phineas Vilmar, a young and ambitious lich lord who desired power. Noting Vilmar as a fine candidate for a puppet king, Sandro and Phineas waged open war against Duke Alaris, a nearby vampire lord. The two of them successfully overthrew Alaris, and later on the king of Deja himself. In the meantime, the Aulian and Grillis heroes Gem and Craghag, with the aid of their friends Jello and Yogg, mastered armies against Sandro, to no avail, as the power of the cloak and armor could not be undone. Their forces were defeated, and Sandro returned to Deja triumphant. However, the four heroes managed to escape and began reassembling their own powerful artifact, the Angelic Alliance. They invaded Deja once more and now marched directly towards Sandro's necropolis. Sandro, unprepared for this offensive, was eventually defeated in battle, though managed to escape his destruction. However, Gem, Jello, Craghag and Yogg claimed the two artifacts he had assembled and destroyed them, dispersing their components throughout the world. This would be the end of the combination artifacts. With this massive failure, Phineas' trust in his chief advisor began to wear thin. Sandro, however, was busy formulating a new invasion into Erathia, arranging for the double-agent Lord Hart to secretly poison King Griffonheart. He then allied Deja with the dungeon overlords of Nion and the Kriegans, and together they all planned the invasion. However, Sandro never came through with his plan, as he was outsmarted and betrayed by Phineas Vilmar, who not only claimed all credit for the impending war, but had Sandro arrested and imprisoned as well. The enraged necromancer remained imprisoned until midway through that very war. During the Restoration Wars, Phineas Vilmar was killed at the hands of the reanimated Lich King Griffonheart. Eventually, Sandro was released by Vitomina and the vampire lord Vokial, who were dispatched to the Emerald Hills to raise a legion of skeletons. After that, Sandro played a small part on the Lich King's demise, and his importance dimmed. After Deza's failure in the Restoration Wars, Sandro spent the rest of his days in the realm of Shadowspire on the continent of Jadam. When the Reckoning happened, Sandro survived the destruction of Enro, crossing over into Axoth, where he kept attempting to rebuild and recreate his network of power. His near conquest of Atacrych can be regarded as a success and a crushing defeat, and the events before the Restoration Wars as an imbalance between creation and destruction. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, click that subscribe button and let me know in the comments if you want another biography video of a hero or Heroes 3 lore in general. Cheers!